It seems like that every day since the release of the Eternals, more and more fans are asking more and more questions in relation to the bigger world and possible plot holes or plot conveniences. Today, we are going to talk about Peter Quill, because his dad, Ego the Living Planet, is a Celestial, or was a Celestial, so people were asking James Gunn if he could please explain what's going on here and why was this never brought up in terms of the actual story that plays out in Eternals. So if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in a while, or maybe you only saw it once or twice, or maybe you even watched it recently, you probably know, or maybe you recall, that when it came to who is Peter Quill, well, of course, the big reveal was his dad was Ego, the Living Planet, a Celestial. No idea why Marvel decided to make Ego a Celestial, which brought upon itself a whole ton of problems, such as problems that were never explained in the Eternals, especially when you consider the fact that Peter is the son of a Celestial, and he's got his powers. So when it came to the explanation that was needed, James Gunn was asked by a lot of people if he could clarify some stuff here, and he did. He talks about the fact that if we look at what happens in that film, if we look at what's going on with the plot with Peter Quill and how the film ends and how it relates to everything that happens with Ego, he quickly points out that Peter Quill gave up everything. His opportunity to be able to have these celestial powers. That was, one of the themes of the film. And that final battle. And then the ending of the film where Peter goes back to being normal. There's no more time. And, let's look at it realistically. If he kept all those powers and the powers he would have had and everything, Thanos probably would not have been as big of a challenge in Infinity War and Endgame, right? So that's what happens. So the reason it's never brought up or talked about or anything in the Eternals is because it doesn't matter. By the time they would have heard about it, it was already happening out there in space. They're on Earth. How are they supposed to know what's happening? Why would they even care? Ego is a Celestial, yes, but did they personally know Ego? Did they personally know Peter Quill's mom? Did they personally get involved with any of that? Not likely. So it didn't matter to the plot, which I appreciate that they kind of explain that because, again, I get it, right? People are trying to connect the dots where sometimes there aren't dots to be connected. It's just one of those things where people point at something and go, but this would have reference here. And you go, well, okay, but you can always bring up the fact that somebody in the United States today does not know what's happening in, let's say, a specific district in Russia, for example. Right? Like, news doesn't travel all across the world to everybody. It's kind of partitioned off to the people that care in that area, and the bigger global news makes it out to the bigger global scale. Why would something that's happening so far out in space come over here and affect a little corner of the Milky Way? It doesn't make sense. And also, this was all predetermined, as we learned, by Kang. So, there's another one there for you. This is how it had to play out. So we can just always refer to that now. Or a wizard did it.